Hi all. So like sometimes it happens that you're spending years doing something without particularly understanding of what are you doing, only why. And like Janice say that all of this internal practices, like at least like 5, 10 years is needed to get to the very basics, like understanding like what is this all about, like how this works and so on. And that's absolutely true. So I can add nothing to this really. And quite interestingly, that like practicing this Yangsheng baguazhang for 15 plus years, today suddenly I had some sort of tiny little enlightenment that gave me quite a good idea in regards to the question that I've been asking myself throughout my entire life. So the question was like how to interact with the outer world. So like when I started these practices back in the day, like when I was young, I was doing some martial arts with exactly the same, having exactly the same purpose in mind, like how to interact with the outer world, like how to work, how to earn something for living, so how to talk to people, how to like resolve conflicts, a whole lot of principles, really a whole lot of principles. And like intuitively, I was feeling like that the matter of interacting with the outer world, actually interacting with it, is the matter of your internal, like energy circulation. I would call it like this probably. So it's not energy doesn't matter really. The matter is the point is like those laws that are working internally, those natural laws that are working internally within your own body. Uh, they are the reflection of how one does interact with the outer world. And the vice versa is also possible. It's also the card. So, for instance, so if you're tense like this, right? So you're just fighting the world, right? So the world fights back and usually does it stronger. But if you're starting to cultivate the into inner peace, like calm, like compassion, and like something natural, something good, something I don't know, that came here with you before you were born, and something that you would be able to take with you when you will die, unlikely money and all the material goods, right? So emphasizing this sort of things is what all the practices are literally all about. But I didn't care good enough, probably, or maybe just was there just wasn't enough time spent practicing. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not quite sure, but I wasn't emphasizing enough the principle within my own life, basically that without giving away what you have earned with your internal sort of practice. And this might be like not specifically particular to this one. So like I was doing a whole lot of programming tutorials, which is exactly literally the same principle. So you're learning something, you're giving it away, like you know something, you're sharing your knowledge. So in order to proceed you need to give up your experience. So that's the overall principle. So that's quite important, because without that, so if you're trying to keep your experience, not sharing this, just usually happens that you're stuck at a certain level and not growing anymore. And in that case, well, some people consider using this energy to become rich, for instance, because that's really easy to do. Some people, I don't know, just waste that energy for nothing. So many ways of how to do. So some people just maintaining to keep being healthy, like to have a good life, which is also can't be judged and can be justified. On the other hand, so it's not a problem really. But if we're trying to talk about like the reasons why we came here on Earth and what's the reason. So, what can we do? What is available for us as human beings? Like, not exactly for us as human beings, but for us, no matter who we are, living here in the human bodies, right? So, what can we do here on Earth? So, that's about the practices. So, something that we brought here from somewhere, and we can like work this out internally, and we can just then take this would no this wouldn't go away like money or property or whatever or cars or girls, but we'll keep this inside, and when we die you just like really feel this is you basically, this is essentially you. So, what I currently say might seem like broad philosophical observations, but quite interestingly, that this sort of practices, they do represent this like general principles in the particular forms and in the particular within the particular internal mechanisms, so that if you are um, working those mechanisms out, it really like starts being like gives you some benefit. So let's go for a bit of explanation first. I will start with the physical form, then we'll try to understand the like sort of alchemical principle behind this, and then by the end of that explanation and a bit of a demonstration, I would probably talk a bit more about like how this can be applied when we are interacting with the outer world. Like my particular answer to this question that took me about 15 plus years to realize. All right, so just like the previous form, so what we need to do, so first we need to have the strong foundation in circle walking. So before we like relax the shoulders, drop the elbows, and take these glasses of water, and actually start walking the circle smoothly and continuously. So there is nothing pretty much to talk about anymore, because without this foundation, the rest of practice doesn't simply make sense. You just, like, if you just start doing something with your hands and you break your posture, you break your continuous flow. This is not good. So the idea behind the form, this is the third form within this form set. Yangsheng, baguazhang, neigong. That's the name of the form set. The form looks like this. Looks quite pretty trivial, not so from the deep meaning perspective for what this form actually allows you to do, right? So, just like the previous form, so the upper body should be like a statue of Buddha, should be really calm and steady. And in that case, like hands starting to move, and this gets connected with a setting. Just literally goes like this. But let's break down the hand movements first, just to make it a little bit more clear. So we've been covering the Helgu points the last video, and like we were talking about the heart space and the kidney space here, respectively, and here. And these Helgu points are on the cards in this form as well. So they are on the cards within the entire form set. So it's really, this particular practice makes use of the Helgu points quite significantly. So we have so-called side meridians here, just right on the sides. And it doesn't matter really like how exactly they go and where the acupuncture points. It's not really, because if you're thinking about this with your brains, you just activate the wrong mechanism, because center, the dantian should be activated. And if the head is full and dantian is empty, the shoulders are tense, no matter the knowledge you have about where the meridian is or where the point is, it's not going to work. So the method is to calm down, relax, let go the tension, and this allows what is known as lowering the chi to dantian. So literally just to calm down and get ready to work hard, to work long. But to work hard does not mean that you would like being intentional. No, work hard means you're ready to work like lifelong. Like it's not just sprint. It's not a sprint. It's like for a long distance, a lifelong distance really. So when the movement like comes from the dantian, you may have no idea in regards to where the points are, what is the acupuncture, how to do. You just feel the flow, and this just happens naturally. And that's pretty much all about it. So just from the bare geometrical perspective, so we start the form. So the hands, the starting position is not quite clear in this form. In the previous form, it was quite pretty clear, like starting position, like how the hands were moving. In this form, it's not as clear, but let's say the hands are somewhere around the center, and by the end of the form, they do come back to the center. And generally, that's the principle that is on the cards for every single form. So no matter what form I do, like this, for instance, I always end up like no matter what form I do, I just end up bringing my energy back to the center, back to my dantian. Same here. So no matter what I do, it just drops back to the center uh, at the very end. So that's the similarity across different forms. So I kickstart with just relaxing the shoulders, dropping the elbows. My palms are here, somewhere around my dantian, and then I'm starting to initiate the movement within this hagu points, and I'm moving this hagu point to my hips, like not exactly to hips, but somewhere in here, somewhere in here. Meanwhile, my shoulders are sort of hugging something from behind, but not the way. So the previous one they have been hugging kidneys. So here they hug something, but a bit higher than kidneys. So not here, but somewhere in here. So they sort of hugging something back there. So that's how it works. And then the idea is that these hagu points are sliding along the meridians, the side meridians, like this. And then the biggest mistake to do is to raise the shoulders, which needs to be avoided at any cost. So instead, I need to drop the elbows, and my elbows going like from backwards, and so they were hugging from behind, and then they are sort of hugging from in front. And as a result, these hagu points are coming to closer to my ears like this, and then I just uh, release my hands, and then I turn my hands, and they naturally like dropping back to dantian. And again, like this is a sort of a circle, so it's really better to see how this form works from the side view. So let's have a look. So I can start with this sort of thing, and then hands come into ears, then the elbows like hug. So they were hugging something from behind, then they are hugging something from in front, and then just releasing the shoulders, like releasing the movement, and hands dropping back to dantian. But it's like I'm currently doing this statically without circle walking, and it feels quite unnatural, and it's not really like it doesn't happen this way. So I would rather now start the circle walking to show this how this works dynamically. But again, so the form goes the following way. So from here, just sliding on the sides, hands are coming to ears, then releasing forward, and we have a circle here. We have a circle here. So we are following the circle. So we are sort of drawing the circle like this. So that's how the form is actually working. Sort of drawing the circle. So you may think of this like the semicircles here, sort of the semicircles here. So this is the full circle. So this is the semicircle, but they are not like this. So this is the semicircle, but not going like this, but going from within. But it feels like as if you've been drawing a semicircle. It just feels internally like bearing on how the elbow is actually moving. So we have sort of semicircles, like but internally. So it probably may seem as like we have a circle here, and the circle here. So we're not rising like this, but we're rising like this. So to rise like this, so this is done by the elbows. So this semicircles. So I'm sort of rising, and then we have the normal circle. It goes like this. So it's really easier to feel this when you're doing the actual circle walking, like literally walking the circle. So let's give it a try. And again, I just need to make sure that I do walk properly first. So I stabilize myself first, and then I'm starting doing this form like this. It's really a three-dimensional thing. It has volume inside, and like probably one of the most difficult forms, both from the perspective of how to properly perform this. So again, like the first 5 years I've been doing these forms, I had no idea how to properly do this form. And every time I asked my teacher if I was doing this right, he was telling me that that's horribly wrong and I'm doing everything really badly. So I just stopped asking that. I just kept practicing because, yeah, that's how it works. You just do it for 10 plus years and then you're starting to understand this, right? But then suddenly you just sort of starting to like understand the physics behind it. So I can't say pretty much anything else in regards to this form. It's really like you just do it, and that's pretty much all about it. It's really hard to explain. Like the previous form was like many things to explain, quite simple one. But this one is quite sophisticated, so I I can't I can't explain it really. Sorry, but I can't explain it pretty much at all. Anyway, we can emphasize some parts. So here, what I do, this is what I do, and then just release. So instead of covering the physics behind the forms, I would rather talk about the alchemical meaning. And although this alchemical meaning is not on the cards, if you didn't do this for 10 plus years, but again, like understanding the alchemical meaning would probably help a little bit more with sort of understanding the internal meaning behind this. So let's drop back to the previous form first, because these forms can't be taken out of the context of the entire form set. So the previous form, what it does, we're going to start from the very first one. So the first form makes you to stabilize the stuff, to make the static of the body calm, steady, and relaxed, and the dynamic lax, which literally represents the principles of change, which is the gist essence behind the baguazhang practice. Then, after this sort of form, essentially what it does, it activates the kidneys, and it also harmonizes and calms down the heart, like allows to sink in the heart, so the heart chi goes down like this, while the kidney chi from the kidneys is getting activated, so it's sort of going up. So that's the basis behind the Taoist alchemical principle. So the chi from kidneys needs to rise, and this goes like this heavenly circle sort of thing. And so it rises like this. And then from the heart, it sinks down. So this form activates this very basic principle. But this is just like, well, you can consider this as the warm up, just the warm up. So you just activate a little bit on the one hand and sort of calm down on the other. And once this is done, a very, very interesting principle starts being on the cards and literally comes onto the stage. The biggest problem, the biggest problem for practitioners is being stuck at a certain level without being able to grow, like to rise to heaven, to become a Buddha, whatever you believe in, doesn't matter really. So, and this like cosmic principle that in order to start rising, you really need to start giving away your experience. I can't overemphasize this principle because this is so important. So if you do not start giving away what you came up with so far, your life experience, your form making experience, if you're doing some hobbies like your hobby experience or your professional job experience. So without giving away this experience for everyone for free, it's impossible to bypass this very lowest stage. So we have like the lower dantian, the middle dantian, and the upper dantian. So the matter of going from the lower dantian to the middle dantian is the matter of like starting this giveaway. So this form, I was talking for so long, but this form represents this giveaway. And initially, essentially, it actually gives it away. So you can think of this the following way. So we could start with like accumulating some energy in our dantian, in our center, like this. So we're just like walking like for half an hour like this. Starts the energy starts accumulating, but then so in order to proceed, we are taking this energy from the kidneys and from the lower dantian. So this first initial movement, it sort of sucks the energy from the lower body, from the lower dantian. It sort of sucks the energy. It brings the energy with this elbow motion, like a duck a little bit, right? So it sucks. It brings this energy to the heart center, right over in here. And this sort of motion starts this sort of giveaway. So you like again, like absorbing your entire experience, your energy, what you came up with so far, and then you just starting to give this away. Just giving this away. It's really hard to explain. It's probably impossible to explain, but you know, the understanding that comes along with this and the opportunities, the internal opportunities, the opportunities for internal growth are really limitless when this principle actually starts working. So it's really important. This is how it works. So I would rather keep silence and just demonstrate a bit more. So again, this is really hard to do properly because you need to leave the part of the life, sort of a big chunk of the life, and to gain some experience, to gain some skills, to gain, like how would Chinese say, to gain some energy and to store it into your dantian, to become, you can call it sort of a pro, become a sort of pro in something too, which is represented by having this storage in dantian, kidneys and dantian, this lower part, and then you just like taking that and you starting giving away. And it's not teaching. It's not teaching. It's so unlikely teaching because it's sharing. It's really giving away. Because teaching is not going above this center. Because teaching says like, I'm a master, I can beat you, and this should already be enough for you to start learning from me. But there is nothing else. That's not the true teacher and student sort of interaction. The true one comes from one heart to another. So the true teacher doesn't really want to, doesn't want to teach. Like if you could ever imagine what a great effort I needed to make in order to start making this video. So I was doing like programming tutorials, like various topics, covering whole lot of topics. And then I started doing this. I didn't really want this, but I felt that if I don't give this away, I'm not going anywhere after. So like I need to give this away to improve my internal practice, to like just to grow. I can't grow without giving this away. So that's it. And this works really interestingly. So earlier I thought that like there should be somebody listening to you, but no, you just do it, and that's literally enough. So I filmed this with my camera. I will upload this to YouTube. But even if there would be like 0 views, it doesn't matter because it works. No matter if someone is watching this or not, because you're doing this internally. Like literally, you are giving away this for others. Others can benefit from this. This can benefit others, but it's not obvious. So others may or may not get that benefit. But when you give this away, you're literally like make it empty, so you're creating more space. So you're just like creating more space. It doesn't mean that you throw away your energy. It's not that. So give away is not throw away. So share does not mean to drop. So share, like you have so much, so many, so much that you can just like it's like donation really. It's really like donation. So you have a lot of money and you can donate to someone else. So that's how it feels basically. So just you have a lot of experience, energy, whatever, and you can just share. And if you start this sharing in particular, this like frees up the space internally, and this lets the alchemical process actually start getting activated. Because before this phase actually starts, it's not yet the alchemical process. It's rather just a matter of gathering the energy. And some people are spending the entire life to for that practice, so they only just gathering energy. Like somebody's trying to get rich, gathering money. Somebody's trying to get health and like traveling and trying to make it better, doing some exercises. But it's not going above the lower center, above the lower dantian. And from the alchemical practices, from the internal, I don't like call it spiritual practices, but like again, from this internal practices perspective, where the idea is to like grow, basically, like everything does in nature. That's really devastating. Getting stuck at this lowest level because, again, the misleading the understanding of what is this needed for, the wrong understanding when you're trying to make use of it, like just spend it. You earn this and then you spend it. Then again, you earn, spend, earn, spend, earn, spend. So this is the dead loop. It's not going anywhere. So you earn and then you give away. And then again, you earn, then you give away. And this helps to sort of change. So not just take, take, drop, but actually earn and then give away, share. And this makes your energy, you're not actually dropping it. You're not like, it doesn't go in anywhere. It just circulating. It's still circulating. It's still with you. But in this case, it may help others to improve their own way. I don't know. Might help in such a various ways that you could never even imagine how exactly this would happen. So hopefully that makes sense. So just go a bit more demonstration. So bearing this what I just said in mind. So we just try to see this how this works in the physical motion, which is it's not really about the physical motion, but I will just try to explain this a bit more from this perspective. And then we come to the very last part that I promised when this video just started. So let's give it a try. So every time I start with again like with a stepping. So before the stepping get stabilized. Let's talk about really. So here, like I will try to show this palm internally without much moving my hands. So just want you to emphasize. I want to emphasize the very gist of it, so you do not get distracted with the hand movements. Which this form is not about the hand movements like this. Although hand movements are really helpful to activate the energy to make it move in the proper direction. But let's have a look. So I'm sort of concentrating on this, concentrating by relaxation. Yet another paradox. Concentrating by relaxation at my lower abdomen, dantian, and minman, which is the area from like minman is like dantian from behind. So dantian here, dantian, minman, dantian, minman. So this is like the belt around. So there is also even a thing called the belt meridian. It's not, well, I don't want to go deeply into the acupuncture because this is another level, so it's really complicated. I don't really understand it myself. Anyway, so we have this storage. And then I'm using the elbows. Elbows is the most essential tool to perform this. So I'm using the elbows to sort of grab this. So I'm grabbing this, and I'm sort of stretching. I'm sort of stretching this. Uh, let's call it water. So if I have again the bank of water, like we've been covering in the opening and closing exercises video, but here let's say the bank of water is only right over in here. So like a small bank of water, right over in here. So now imagine that we can take this water and start stretching it. So it was like here, but then we want to start stretching this from front and from the behind. So we start like stretching this up, right? And how to do this? I'm using my elbow, so I need to have my shoulders absolutely relaxed. And if I put my shoulders in tension, this will instantly drop the water back. So it's not going to work that way. My shoulders should be relaxed all the time. So I'm sort of feeling this bank of water with my elbows, and then I'm starting to stretch it. I'm stretching, 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 and at this point, this bank of water goes like here, 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 and here, and also from behind. So it's like it was this tall, and when my hands are here, it's sort of this tall. So it's much taller, much higher. Now, like stretching this. And then when I release the hands, it sort of starts like a shower, just just pouring the water with the shower, and the water is like going everywhere through the body. So this is the exact principle of some sort. So from here, I just let it go, and when I let it go, I don't quite think where exactly it should be going. So this is like charity. So you just imagine like some charity funds. So you may donate to some charity organization without having pretty much any idea where the money you've donated are going to be applied. So you just can donate for some organization, and that organization, on its own turn, it would then decide so where to use your money. So this is a very similar principle. So you just like um, creating this potential, you're stretching this bank of water, and then you just let go. So you say like, I give you what I have, and you're absolutely free to use it the best ever way you consider to be the most appropriate. So yeah, like I just give it away, sharing, donating, and then I just like let it go. And again, just like stretching, and then you just give it away, let it go. So you are not the one to decide of how exactly this is going to be working. So you can just like give it away for charity. So you're not responsible to deliver it somewhere else. You just give it away, and then it just goes somehow on its own laws. So it just happens somehow. So you care up to this point. You care. You do something. Starting from this point, you don't care. You trust. You literally trust. So you say, yes, please. So use it like you want it to. Well, that's how I can explain it today, basically. So give it away, really. Give it away. And yeah, like finally, from just going back from heaven to earth, like if you're doing this from the pure physical perspective, you can just think of this form as the way of how the shoulder, of how the elbow is getting rotated uh, against how the elbow is rotated against the shoulder. So shoulder is not moving, but the elbow is sort of moving around the shoulder. So this is how it works. This is how it works. See my shoulder? My shoulder is really like going. The elbow is always going towards the shoulder, and vice versa as well. So my my shoulder goes here, elbow goes here, shoulder goes here, elbow goes here. Now elbow starts going away, and shoulder starts going away as well, right? So I'm not sure if this is seen, but yeah. So this eventually, like from the pure physical perspective, like I've been doing this for 15 plus years, well, just from the physical perspective, without understanding pretty much anything in regards to how this works and why we actually need this form. So on the bare physical perspective, you can just think of it as just like relaxing the shoulders. Well, you can think of any exercise in Qigong as a way to relax the shoulders, and you would always be right. So hopefully that makes sense. So like this, gathering Qi to Dantian. So if you know idea what the Dantian is and what the Qi is and what to do, you can always like try not to uprise the shoulders, and when the motion is going down, you try to relax the shoulders, and this will always be like correct. So if you don't know what to do, you just relax the shoulders and drop the elbows. So it'll always be just a proper way of doing things. And again, so man goes like left and then right, and women do the opposite, right and then left. So that's quite essential. And let go, just harmonize everything like this. So, last but not least, thing I wanted to basically share. Yeah, because that's the giveaway day, sharing everything. Like I don't know. Probably some of you has been watching the video on this channel. By the way, I just renamed the channel from Code Monkey King to Monkey See Monkey Do because that's the more generalized description of what I actually do. So I was only doing programming tutorials on this channel earlier. Now I'm doing like many other things, different things. Like in particular, now I'm doing this Qigong series. I have no idea what comes next. No idea really. But Monkey See Monkey Do is just the principle. Like you can grab the form and you can start practicing it without pretty much understanding what it does, how it works. But the true dedication, the true attitude actually allows you to, like, if you're honest, if you're honestly doing this, if you really like come steady and you're just constantly doing this for years, the form itself starts teaching you and you're starting to realize like what was that. Probably many of you don't have time for that, but well, that's not the only available practice. So everyone should be considering something that fits his needs the most, definitely. But anyway, it just happened today. I'm so happy today because despite the war in Ukraine, despite the men have been recruited to army, uh, so like with force by police and special patrols, like if I go outside, then most likely I will just get sent to the front line and die after. So yeah, it's like it's really like bad times now. But I'm so happy because like the sun is shining and like I'm still alive. I'm standing here. I'm recording this video, and the most important thing that I can actually summarize what I did in my entire life and make it tight and bring it to you. And this makes me really happy because this goes like from this principle of just like uh, earn, spend, earn, spend, earn, spend, to the principle like earn and not spend, but transform, give away, and rise, and just like I don't know. It's really, it's really far to become a Buddha or something like. But that's just the direction somewhere in that somewhere like pointing to somewhere like that direction. Anyway, last but not least, so I was mentioning the video like on this monkey see monkey do principle, which was called the biggest dilemma of my life or something like. So like long story short, I was talking about the problem. I thought that was a problem, now I see it's no longer a problem really. So I was talking about like as a programmer I can work. So my rate is $50 per hour, and I can work with that rate and people are happy to pay the money for me. But when I start doing this, I'm getting into the business like interaction, which destroys my internal nature, and I don't want literally anything after. I'm starting being pissed off at the world, I'm losing my calm and I'm turning into a monster after. So the dilemma is that how can I like interact? I'm not talking about earning money. I'm just talking about like interacting with the outer world, uh, using my skills. Meanwhile, keeping this human face and not turning into the monster. Because if I like go for this business-like interaction, it literally kills me from within. So today I finally found a solution to that question, and it's really, it was really on the surface. All these years, the entire life, it was on the surface. So it's very simple. I'll just try to like see how did I manage to survive within the last 11 months, starting from the war in Ukraine and up to this very moment in particular. So, did I work as a programmer? Yes, I did, but I've been working, I don't know, maybe like 1, 2 hours per month, not every month. Well, there were months where I've been working like quite hard, like for a week or so, but then I wasn't like working like as a programmer. I was within the last 3 years, I've been producing these YouTube videos, which has resulted in. So when I really needed money, when the war has started, when it was like the matter of moving, to, like traveling across the country, like paying for the hotels, for very expensive hotels and so on, you guys, you gave me that money via Patreon, and like you literally saved my life with that sort of thing. And then like on my chess programming channel, for instance, like I've been doing a whole lot of content that many people found quite useful, so they have been donating as well. And although my patrons at Patreons are now like there were like up to 50 maybe, and now there is maybe just a couple of people there. And so, but I'm not complaining at any point because I needed it then. When I needed that support, you gave me that support. Now I can do this on my own. I'm not asking for support, and that's okay too. And for instance, like those like fans from my chess programming channel. So sometimes it happens like someone a guy just mails you and says like I've been using your engine. Your engine is so cool. Your 95 video series on how to make a big boy chess engine in C is so fantastic. Can I please send you $50? And I say like, whoa, this is so cool. Of course you can, because yeah, that would be really helpful because you can leave for $50 like for quite a bit of time in Ukraine now. So yeah, it's miserable in Europe or in the US. It's just like for I don't know, it's really miserable. But in Ukraine, $50 is quite a significant amount of money. And literally, how I would describe this process. So I was sharing, and I still do share my knowledge or experience or what I feel, what I think, like my internal being, absolutely for free with everyone who is interested in this. And then it just happens that this results in donations from the sources that I could never imagine the donation would come from that particular source, because that's really unexpected to say the least. And yeah, sometimes it just, I don't know, you think like, okay, I don't have any particular jobs now, I don't have patrons, I don't have anything, and I have the bill that I need to pay, and then suddenly ban, and you either have a small job to make and to earn some money like I had previously, or for instance someone just gives you money just because you like some work that you've been doing before or something. So literally, I would describe this like from the internal, from the perspective of how I feel this internally. It just feels like money are just falling down from the heaven to my head. So it doesn't feel like I did something that has resulted in getting paid. So that is what is known as the business interaction, when you're doing something and you're getting paid in return. And in my particular case, this doesn't work because the result I have internally, I get destroyed when I can't do something, I can't get paid, but I get destroyed internally. And I was looking for a way, how on earth can I not get destroyed? And I didn't find one. But later I realized that I don't quite need to be sticking to business interaction at all. And I'm not really like, uh, not trying to say that you have to do it exactly the same way. It's really not for like one or two people may make use of it, but it's not for the vast majority. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. It's really similar to like I've been thinking about the Buddhist monks. I've been really fond of when I was much younger. So I was thinking like the Buddhist monk are like doing the work their internal work. So they're trying to become Buddhists. So they are not doing anything for the society, seemingly, yeah. But people there are denying the Buddhist monks because this just happens. And I was thinking, yeah, like I'm not in China, I'm not a Buddhist monk, I'm not a monk even at all. I like girls, yeah, I like women. So yeah, it's really far away. It's a different story. So how can I make use of that? I can't, right? But it turns out that by the time, like, every time when you're having like a $50 per hour project for like 3 years, and you're being asked whether you accept this or not, I was saying like, like it's really tempting, but I don't want this job. So yeah, like having those offers, like highly paid jobs, hourly paid jobs, like 2 or 3 years, long term projects. But I've been rejecting every single one. I've rejected a countless number of those offers. And if I did accept those, yes, I could be living not in the barn like I do now, but I don't know, like in a normal house or something, and I could like have a car probably. I don't know. I would probably had enough money to just illegally escape the country and live somewhere in Europe or in the US and so on. But I didn't consider all of that because the internal price that I would no longer, this would just destroy the entire internal thing that I've been building throughout my life, and which is literally the only thing that truly matters to me. Because, like, if I get those money, if I get some opportunities, even if that saves my life, I don't need a life where I'm dead inside, right? So if I'm alive inside, then I can live the poor life. I can live in poverty. I don't care, because the only thing that is really important for me is just to keep maintaining my this internal think. I call it think. I have no idea how to call it. I really mean that. Just this internal development. I don't know. Like I don't want the cliches like trying to become saint or Buddha. It's not for me. Again, like it's not about me. but but just trying to like having this internal values that are really important for me. And that's something I'm maintaining throughout my life. So quite interestingly, just to summarize this, quite interestingly that um the way how the Buddhist monks are getting paid, getting donated, is not it's not necessarily needed to exactly be the Buddhist monk in order to initiate this sort of internal mechanism to work for your own situation. So the form does not matter. So you might not be a monk, you might not be living in China, so you might be just me living here in Ukraine during the war, and still doing exactly the same principle, which is the form that we've been talking about today. So once you have gathered some uh, experience, some energy, something, then you can take this something and you just like donate this to the world.